This is all the times cartoons have predicted the future. And today, you and I, we're going over more than 30 instances where these shows felt like they had actual time travelers on the writers' team. And we're starting with the future tellers themselves, The Simpsons. Bart to the Future. Now, since its beginning in 1989, the series has remained iconic in pop culture, running over 800 episodes, I can't even count that high, and becoming the longest-running American animated series to date. But as I'm sure you know, they're known for something far more shocking, which is predicting real-world events, sometimes decades before they actually happen. And let's start with the most popular one, Donald Trump's presidency. It happens all the way back in season 11 in an episode called Bart to the Future. It starts with the Simpsons driving to a park for a picnic, but finding that there are way too many mosquitoes. On the way back, they find a Native American casino, and Homer takes Bart with him. Except he's only 10 years old, so he has to find another way in. But things don't go so well after he sneaks into a ventriloquist's case.
Say hello to... Kevin, you've become a real boy.
All right, time for some underage gambling. So long, sucker.
That's when a Native American psychic starts telling him what would happen if he doesn't change his ways. 30 years into the future, Bart is a 40-year-old beer-drinking slacker trying to launch his music career after dropping out of DeVry University. And although SoundCloud wasn't invented yet, he'd probably be using it. But Bart is living in an apartment with his bandmate Ralph, which they later get evicted from. And it's clear that Bart didn't really get anywhere in life. But Lisa, on the other hand, had quite the interesting one.
1600.
And right as she's taking her rightful place and discussing the things that she wants to do under her new administration, she says a particular line that doesn't come true for 16 years.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
So this was in the year 2000, long before the 2016 election that gave Trump his first term as president. On top of that, in this episode's timeline, it's 2030, which means they also predicted Trump would be president in the late 2020s as well. So this makes one of the biggest times the Simpsons writers nailed the future on its head, but it was hardly the only time. And stick around towards the end here, by the way, because at the end, we've got a prediction that, predicted one of the world's biggest tragedies. Yeah, but first, let's take a look at the time the Simpsons predicted their own fate. The episode I'm referring to is When You Dish Upon a Star. This one happens in the 10th season, and it shows the family going to the lake after Bart and Lisa convince Homer that they needed to go. But the trip takes a turn when Homer gets into an accident while parasailing. But then again, it's kind of his own fault.
I want to look down on the clouds with contempt. I want to sneer at God's creation and spit on it. Lower!
He crashes through a skylight and into the bedroom of Alec Baldwin and Kim Basinger's secluded summer home. But this unexpectedly goes well for him, as he convinces the couple to let him be their assistant, joined by Ron Howard, all while keeping their location a secret, of course. But Homer wasn't very good at that, naturally, so when he felt like a nobody again, things started slipping out.
All right, I'm gonna let you guys in on something. But you got to keep it much more secret than I did.
But no one in that group was going to keep the golden information to themselves, and the paparazzi, they soon followed. Betrayed, the couple threw Homer out, and the town wasn't kind to him either, pelting him with rocks. As revenge, he opens the Museum of Hollywood Jerks and displays the couple's personal stuff to expose them. The three celebrities eventually find the museum, causing a chase that's straight out of a movie.
It's up to me.
They sue him, and Homer is ordered to not come 500 miles near a celebrity, whether they're dead or alive. And that's when they're taken back to Ron Howard, who pitched Homer's idea to a rather peculiar company.
And it grows to a powerful, emotional climax.
Now, when this episode aired in 1988, that's the year I was born, oh my god, 20th Century Fox and Walt Disney were two separate entities. But the thing is, Disney only acquired 21st Century Fox in March of 2019. I was alive then, for a whopping $71.3 billion. Until then, The Simpsons was a part of Fox, with no connection to Disney whatsoever. But 21 years later, that prediction came true. But while this was a prediction of a clean business deal, The Simpsons Simpsons, they also predicted something much more gross. And for that, we go to an episode called Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song. Back in 2013, Europe got hit with a full-blown horse meat scandal. Yup, starting from January 15th of that year, a wide range of food products sold in the European Union as beef turned out to contain undeclared horse meat. Oh my god. And it even got worse than that in February when some Findus products were found to contain up to 100% horse meat instead of beef. But guys, what if I told you that The Simpsons predicted this 19 years earlier? It happens in 1994 in the 5th season, and it starts with Bart struggling to find something good for show and tell at his elementary school. And so, he chooses to take Santa's little helper, the family pet, instead, which actually goes well for him.
Would you like these cookies Martin made for me?
My raisin roundies!
My dog's name is Santa's Little Helper. One time he crawled under the house, and when he came out, he was covered with ants.
Y'all, the class becomes completely fascinated with Bart's dog, but the show and tell, it must go on. So Santa's Little Helper gets locked in a closet. That's when the lunch lady is seen adding something that she really shouldn't be adding into the school lunches.
More testicles mean more iron.
And this wasn't even what got Skinner fired in the episode. The final straw was actually Santa's Little Helper, who got into the air vents and tore the whole school apart. In fact, the horse meat gag was a blink and you miss it moment that never came up again until real life caught up to it in 2013, almost 2 decades later. Also, I gotta tell you guys something. If The Simpsons can see the future and predict it, then so can I. And my prediction is that you're about to hit that subscribe button. Maybe, hopefully, please. But anyway, in the next one, it's even more shocking because as they managed to get a Nobel Prize winner right with his full name, years before he was even considered for the coveted prize. Check this out. Alright, so this next one is in the episode Elementary School Musical from the 22nd season of the show. And it actually starts with the prediction. As the children are watching the Nobel Prize announcements instead of going to bed, the first winner was an economist by the name of Jagdish Bhagwati. And that's when the kids reveal their betting pool for the winners, and Milhouse's bet would actually come true in real life. You see, at the time, Bengt R. Holmstrom had been a distinguished economist at MIT since 1994, but him winning the Nobel Prize wasn't on anyone's radar until 6 years later when he shared the prize with Oliver Hart for their contribution to contract theory, which is basically like laying the groundwork for how managers get paid in the finance world. But that was only in 2016, while the episode aired in 2010. A more recent prediction, but they definitely knocked it out of the park with that one. But the Nobel Prize Awards aren't the only place The Simpsons have predicted winners, as it has actually happened in sports as well, as we will see in the next episode. So this prediction comes from the episode Boys Meets Curl. That's a clever name. From the 21st season. It starts with Marge and her giant blue hair excitedly getting ready for a date night. But her plans fall apart when Homer is forced to stay longer than expected at the Springfield nuclear power plant to fix a leak in one of the plant's nuclear processing pipes. When he got back, though, they went to a movie instead, but luck just wasn't on their side that day.
So noisy in here. I can't hear the ad telling everyone to be quiet.
Hey, we came here to enjoy the movie, and we're going to enjoy the movie. We're out of here.
Wanting romance, the couples decide to go to an ice rink and skate as a final attempt to save their date night. However, they are unable to rent skates because it is curling night, so they decide to try it and discover something interesting.
Young woman, where'd you learn to sweep like that?
I've been training all my life. I once swept red wine off a white carpet.
I like your style, Blue. Want to join our team?
If Homer can join with me.
Fine.
Now on a real mixed doubles team, they learn that mixed doubles has been added to the Winter Olympics as a demonstration sport, and the Skinner-Simpson team qualifies for the U.S. curling trials. And well, guys, what do you know? Marge's talented sweeping earns the team a win and a trip to the Winter Olympics in Vancouver, eh? But Homer, he wasn't as much of a help, which only fueled the competitive fire in Agnes.
Well, no matter what you do, it won't make up for Sir Slip-a-Lot over there.
Uh-oh.
Yes, it will. I'll just sweep harder than anyone's ever swept before. Because without Homer, I'm a broom without a stone.
But y'all, Marge kept her word, even pulling off an impossible move to restart the stone. But she had to pay the price by injuring her right shoulder. So even though she secured a win for the semifinals, she's told that she can never curl again. But Homer discovers something that would save the game.
Marge, you're really good with your left hand.
I should be. I'm left-handed. I've been using my right hand all these years because I didn't want to seem unusual in any way.
Armed with this new information, the couple rejoins the game, and against all odds, a miracle happens.
The USA has won demonstration gold, our first and only medals of these entire Olympics.
And this moment, guys, it actually comes true 8 years later in real life when the US men's team beat Sweden 10-7 on their way to their first ever Olympic gold. They got the opponent and the result right, which is just insane. Up next, though, is their longest prediction ever, something that came true 33 years after the episode came out. So this is from one of the earliest episodes, Itchy and Scratchy and Marge from Season 2. And if you were alive during Season 2, let us know in the comments below. But after praising Marge's pork chops, Homer decides to build a spice rack in her honor. But his little project backfires, and it's made worse when Maggie comes out from the shadows. Marge tries to find the reason as to why Maggie hit her father, only to realize that it was because of the Itchy and Scratchy show that the kids had been watching. So she bans it in their house. So Bart and Lisa just go and watch the show at other people's places. So Marge tries to write a letter to the studio to turn the violence down. And when that doesn't work, she does something a whole lot worse.
And what happens when a child grows up with insanely violent role models like these? The answer is all around you.
Her approach, it works, and the show starts to get a lot of backlash. Even the studio mocking her with a cartoon designed after her didn't stop Marge from appearing on TV with the crew behind Itchy and Scratchy, causing even more protests against them. The writers, they give up and ask Marge for advice, changing the show entirely. But that had other consequences that were worse for the production team.
But the third bowl of porridge was just right.
Meanwhile, Marge's protest, it inspired change in Springfield, with residents believing that they can censor anything and everything if they protest enough. So when Michelangelo's David came to the town, let's just say that it was met with the same kind of welcome.
Get the door.
What in the world?
Get dressed, Marge. You've got to lead our protest against this abomination.
Ironically enough, though, this actually happened in real life. In 2023, a Florida principal was forced to resign after parents complained about the students seeing the same statue in class, 33 years after this episode aired in 1990. Well, so much for Marge, seeing it as a masterpiece. But there was an even bigger controversy, yes, bigger, that The Simpsons predicted. One that led to a scandal in the biggest sports organization in the world. You don't have to live like a referee. This one is from season 25. If you were alive during that season, let us know in the comments below. And you see, it starts with a school assembly where Principal Skinner presents a skit about history. But things go horribly wrong as the students get bored and the whole assembly turns into a riot. So Chalmers suggests holding a speech contest where the students talk about their heroes instead. And things go well enough until Lisa realizes something terrible.
I give you Madame Marie Sklodowska-Curie.
Martin took my topic. What do I do?
So Bart has the brilliant idea for Lisa, write about Homer instead. And against her better judgment, she listens to Bart. Homer, on the other hand, is completely flabbergasted when Lisa highlights all the ways he was a good father to her. Aww, and a popular organization, they take notice of Lisa's speech and gives the prediction while they're at it too.
From the Premier Leagues to the playgrounds, all has been tainted. We need a symbol of integrity like yourself.
Of course I am, but how do you know?
Oh, your daughter's speech went viral. Ah! No, I mean it spread like wildfire.
Much better.
A year later, this would come true with the FIFA scandal. At the end of May 2015, a year after the episode aired, 14 people were charged with wire fraud, racketeering, and money laundering. I still don't know what racketeering is, but 7 of them were literally high-ranking officials who ran the entire show. It's almost like they knew it would happen. But guys, there was also a self-fulfilling prophecy that The Simpsons were a part of, where the people involved were actually inspired by the episode. And the episode in question is Homer Palooza. So this episode was from the 7th season of The Simpsons. I won't make the joke anymore, but after Otto destroys the school bus while daydreaming, Homer, he's forced to carpool several students to school. And he has the shocking realization that the world changes and that his favorite things had gone out of trend a long time ago.
Oldies. Oldies?
But you've got all the top bands in here. Sticks? I just heard them on the King Biscuit Flower Hour.
Trying to get in with what's trendy now, Homer gets 3 tickets to the hottest music festival, Hullabalooza, for himself and his 2 children. Cypress Hill is the first band to play, while Homer tries to act cool by wearing a Rastafarian hat. But it doesn't go well for him, as an angry crowd of Generation Xers confront him after mistaking him for an undercover police officer. After being tossed out by the crowd, Homer does something amazing, though.
Uh-oh.
The head of the festival, though, is impressed by Homer's ability to absorb cannon fire and hires him for the festival's freak show. And here's the thing, guys, he actually does really well at his new job, getting all the popularity that he wanted. There was just one teeny tiny problem, though.
Mr. Simpson, this is serious. If you take one more cannonball to the gut, you will die.
He decides to perform one last time and takes his family backstage, and that's when the joke that would echo 28 years into the future happens.
Hello, bands. Who is playing with the London Symphony Orchestra? Come on, people, somebody order the London Symphony Orchestra. Possibly while high. Cypress Hill, I'm looking in your direction.
Because 28 years later, Cypress Hill actually made it happen, playing with the London Symphony Orchestra at the Royal Albert Hall in 2024. And they openly admitted that the joke was what inspired the whole thing. It had come full circle. But that wasn't the only run-in The Simpsons had with celebrities, as the next one was more tragic than anyone could have guessed. And that episode is Springfield. It's in season 5, and it starts with Mayor Quimby fielding suggestions to improve the failing economy of Springfield. And Principal Skinner has a great idea: legalize gambling. I would vote for him, but everyone likes the idea, even Marge and her giant hair, who basically hates every idea the townspeople come up with. But a casino, it gets built, with Homer taking up a job there, and he was really good at it.
Let's see, 18, 27, 35, dealer bust. Looks like my shift is over.
Meanwhile, a show of the flamboyant magic of Gunter and Ernst, who are both parodies of Siegfried and Roy, was gathering quite the crowd here. The show consists of the 2 men, along with a white tiger that they had captured. And the tiger clearly hadn't forgotten where it came from, because things quickly started going downhill. And believe it or not, guys, this actually happened in real life. On October 3rd, 2023, illusionist Ray Horn of the famous duo Siegfried and Roy was severely mauled by a 380-pound white tiger named Montecore during a live performance at the Mirage in Las Vegas. This incident, which happened on Horn's 59th birthday of old age, left him partially paralyzed and instantly ended their long-running, iconic strip production. It came almost exactly 10 years after the Simpsons episode. These episodes, guys, they're just literally manifesting things. And if you think that's creepy, by the way, just wait until you see the one we're ending this video on. But when it comes to sci-fi, The Simpsons would probably generally be the last thing on your mind. Yet the show has actually predicted even technology 4 years before its arrival. And the episode I'm talking about is Lisa's Wedding. This one is from season 6, and the plot focuses on Lisa visiting a carnival fortune teller and learning about her wedding in the then far-off future of 2010, which at the time, 2010 was still 15 years away. Now, it was over 15 years ago. That's great. But that would put Lisa at around 23 years old at this time. Lisa, though, she would go on to meet a fellow university student named Hugh Parkfield from London, and they have a really good time together. I actually personally really like this episode.
Thanks for holding my book while I tied my shoe.
Oh! That's the book I need. You'll probably take forever with it, too.
I can read faster than you.
I read at a 78th grade level.
Right here.
They actually end up falling deeply in love with each other, so much so that Parkfield proposes. But when the moment doesn't go how he had hoped, he talks to something that wouldn't exist in real life for another 4 years.
Oh, blast. Go to plan B.
That smartwatch he spoke through only existed in fiction until 1999, when Samsung introduced the SPH-WP10. It's not a very catchy name, but it was the first commercial watch phone capable of making phone calls. Apparently, The Simpsons are good at predicting things from all fields. But if you thought that it was only the show that was capable of this, you'd be wrong, because the next prediction, it comes from the 2007 Simpsons movie. It starts with Green Day, who, after finishing a 3.5-hour-long concert, tries try to engage the audience in a discussion about the environment, but the crowd refuses to listen and throws garbage at the band. It got so bad, though, that they drowned, but their cause is taken up by none other than Lisa, along with her new boyfriend, Colin. Together, they hold a seminar trying to talk sense into the people of Springfield, which actually goes well for once. Meanwhile, Marge believes in a prophecy that Grandpa had, and Bart gets closer to Ned Flanders after getting fed up with Homer's recklessness. And what does Homer do with all of this? Obsess over a pig named Plopper that he rescued from the Krusty Burger. Do you remember the hold Spider Pig had on the internet back then? Oh my god, but the pig obviously ends up giving more trouble than Marge signed up for. And now, Homer was tasked with cleaning up after it, but he gets distracted and ruins everything that Lisa was working for this whole time. The container critically pollutes the lake, turning it completely black. After a squirrel falls into the lake and becomes mutated, Russ Cargill, head of the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, informs President Arnold Schwarzenegger of Springfield's pollution crisis and presents him with 5 solutions. And he picks the one that would seal the deal on Grandpa's prophecy.
We're being sealed in a dome!
What do I do? I don't know what to do. Because if I stay, I'm trapped. If I leave, I'm alone. Oh God, in, out, I never saw Venice.
Being trapped under the dome causes mass hysteria in Springfield, and when they discover that Homer was the final straw that caused this, they all rush to the Simpsons' house. Luckily, the family manages to escape, but the house gets destroyed. Homer convinces them to head to Alaska, and with a truck that Homer won, they restart their lives. But back in Springfield, things went from bad to worse.
Day 93 under the dome. With necessities growing dangerously low, who knows what spark will set off this powder keg?
The townspeople eventually attack the dome, and the city descends into total anarchy. Cargill, mad with power that he has over Springfield and outraged that they're fighting back, tricks Schwarzenegger into ordering the town's demolition. When the Simpsons find out, everyone except Homer, they want to help Springfield. Once Marge was absolutely sure that she wasn't going to get any support from her husband, she did the most heartbreaking thing.
So I'm leaving with the kids to help Springfield, and we're never coming back. And to prove to myself that this is the end, I taped this over our wedding video.
After that, she and the kids left in a train, where she started to discuss what they're actually going to do, really loudly. Lisa tries to stop her, which leads to her to say an almost prophetic line.
It's not like the government is listening to everybody's conversation.
That's literally how they get caught in the movie. But 6 years later, something called the Snowden disclosures would come to light. Edward Snowden, an ex-NSA contractor, had released top-secret documents revealing several secret treaties signed by members of the UK-USA community in their efforts to implement global surveillance. And Lisa already knew back in 2007. Up next, we have a more positive one with a certain someone's performance at the Super Bowl predicted 5 years before it. And the episode I'm talking about is Lisa Goes Gaga. So it is the last episode of the 23rd season, and it starts with Lady Gaga passing through Springfield via train while on her way to a concert. And when she saw that the whole place was the definition of depression, it became her obsession to cheer everyone up. And honestly, she couldn't have come at a better time because Lisa was having the worst day of her life.
And now the award for least popular student, Lisa Simpson.
What? Least popular? I gotta go.
So she creates a fake online personality to convince other people that she's not so bad, but it sorta kinda backfires when Bart finds it and makes a big scene out of it. Lisa's social standing plummets to the depths of hell, but a psychic force tells Gaga that Lisa desperately needs her help. And if anybody has psychic abilities, it probably would be Lady Gaga. And with Homer forcing her to, Lisa goes to see the concert. And that's when Gaga does something that she would do in real life 5 years later.
All my monsters are beautiful. Ghost-dutiful, square-rootiful.
The real-life Lady Gaga would descend on wires in a shimmering bodysuit at the Super Bowl halftime show that year. Y'all, they even got the colors right. And even though Lisa Goes Gaga is known to be one of the worst episodes of The Simpsons, you gotta give them credit for this one. Now, the next prediction is of a mutation, and this episode is from the second season and even correctly predicts how someone came across the mutation. And the episode I'm talking about is 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish. Now, this episode actually opens with the prediction. It's an innocent day like any other, with 2 Simpsons children going fishing downstream of the Springfield nuclear power plant. That's when little old Bart makes a discovery that would actually come true in real life.
All right, we eat tonight.
Wait a minute.
The fish would be named Blinky, and he goes on to be the star of the episode. I mean, the little guy literally gets served just to ruin a political campaign. But believe it or not, Blinky actually exists in real life, as 21 years after this episode in 2011, fishermen in Cordoba, Argentina, they caught a 3-eyed wolffish in a reservoir fed by a local nuclear power plant.
We were fishing and we got the surprise of getting this rare specimen. As it was dark at that time, we did not notice, but then you looked at him with a flashlight and saw that he had a 3rd eye.
And well, the Simpsons got it right, down to the nuclear power plant part. But they also predicted something far more intentional when it comes to politics, as we'd see in this next episode, Treehouse of Horror 19. This episode is the 19th edition of Treehouse of Horror, and like all the other ones, it's a bit gruesome. But lucky for us, the prediction is right at the start, with Homer going to vote. After a bit of fumbling around the booth, he goes to cast his vote, only for something strange to happen.
One of those electronic voting dealies.
1 vote for McCain. Thank you.
No, I want to vote for Obama.
2 votes for McCain.
4 years later, during the 2012 U.S. presidential election, a video showed an electronic voting machine in Pennsylvania switching a vote for Barack Obama to one for Mitt Romney. Do you guys remember Mitt Romney? What happened to him?
A voter using a touchscreen machine is seen repeatedly trying to vote for Obama, while the machine registers a vote for Romney.
Election officials, however, blamed the error on a touchscreen calibration issue rather than intentional rigging. But a voting machine flipping votes on camera is exactly what Homer went through 4 years earlier. Up next, though, we have The Simpsons predicting the revival of a film franchise that everyone thought was dead and buried. And the one I'm talking about is
The Ziff Who Came to Dinner.
This episode is from the 15th season, and it starts with the Simpsons family going to the movies. But as the camera pans to Homer while he's talking to the person behind the ticket counter, a particular movie poster, it stands out.
How about Diet Coke, the movie?
This episode was released in 2004, right after the Matrix franchise had seemingly ended with its final movie in 2003, and everyone thought that was that. But then capitalism and corporate greed became a thing, and a whole 17 years later, Matrix Resurrections hit theaters in 2021. Even though the movie underperformed at the box office, it still got positive feedback from critics. However, the next prediction is of a businessman in space, 7 years before it actually happened, and it was an episode called The War of Art. So this one is from the 25th season, and it starts with Lisa's new pet guinea pig, who had taken a liking to destroying the living room art that The Simpsons had. So the family heads to a yard sale ran by the Van Hootens, or to the Millhouse house, if you will, to replace it. And while there, Marge falls in love with a beautiful painting, which Homer buys for $20, but she was in for another shock.
Ooh, I think this was painted by someone famous. Maybe it's valuable.
We should have it appraised.
You guys are crazy. I never even heard of that guy. It's not like it was painted by Leonardo da Vinci Code.
The painting they had is literally worth $80,000 to $100,000. Marge wants to share the money they get with the Van Hootens, but Homer obviously disagrees, saying that the Simpsons should look after their own financial security first and keep the sale a secret from them. Too bad that he didn't have a choice, though, because Milhouse overhears it and tells his parents, which would go as well as you'd expect.
Give back the painting. The whole town's turned against us.
You have no obligation to share the money from that painting.
Ooh, a support rock!
And the town gets split on whether to support or to be against The Simpsons. As the auction begins, Dawn, a former lover of Kirk's, arrives and claims that he took the painting from her. And that means, unlucky for Homer, the auction is suspended until its ownership can be established. Kirk tells Homer that he bought the painting on the island of Isla Verde, Puerto Rico, home to a community of artists. Homer and Lisa, they travel to the cafe to see if he's telling the truth, and boy, were they in for a surprise.
I love art!
Art? What do you know about art? You don't even know who painted that picture.
Yes, we do. It's a Johann Oldenwelt.
Wrong. It's a me.
What?
I painted it. Me, Klaus Ziegler.
Basically, guys, it was a fake made by an art forger who was so good at his job that he had fooled everyone with his replicas. And when he goes on about his reasons for doing what he does, a brief cutaway, it actually comes true.
The only real question to ask about art, whether it's in the Louvre or on a freshman's wall at Cal State Fullerton, is, did it move you?
That's Richard Branson, the English business magnate behind the Virgin Group. And he actually made the prediction come true on July 11th, 2021, when he rode on VSS Unity 22 as a passenger along with 3 employees. It was the first time a spaceflight company founder traveled on his own ship into outer space, meaning The Simpsons actually predicted what would become a first in history. Now, while that's impressive, the next prediction, well, it's so bizarre that not even sci-fi movies featured it, only for it to actually end up existing in real life. And it happens in the episode called, Brother, Can You Spare 2 Dimes? Alright, so this is the final episode of Season 3, and it starts with a routine physical exam at the Springfield nuclear power plant. It reveals that Homer is sterile after being exposed to radiation, and fearing a lawsuit, Mr. Burns offers him a whopping $2,000 prize in exchange for signing a legal waiver freeing the plant of all liability. And even with inflation, that is not very much. But Mr. Burns, he was ready to say anything to get Homer to sign it.
It just explains that you've won, yes, that's it, won the first annual Montgomery Burns Award for outstanding achievement in the field of excellence.
With a full award show to boot, though, Homer was convinced and signed it. He plans to buy a vibrating chair as a replacement for the living room couch since theirs had broken. Meanwhile, Homer's half-brother Herb, who is broke and homeless because of Homer in a previous episode, learns of the prize and goes after it. And to get it, he comes up with a business idea.
It's a baby translator. It measures the pitch, the frequency, and the urgency of a baby's cries. Then it tells whoever's around, in plain English, exactly what the baby is trying to say.
Now, while the version in the show translates baby talk into plain English, the real-life version, it's a bit different. In an increasingly AI-driven world, I'm not AI by the way, there are now apps that analyze baby cries and categorize them to give parents a better idea of what their baby is feeling. And The Simpsons? They did it like 24 years earlier. Now, let's move away from The Simpsons, yes, we can do that in this video, and we're gonna move into the worlds of other cartoons that predicted things on their own. Because that eerie prediction I promised you at the start, it's getting closer and closer. But in the meantime, what we have next is American Dad, which predicted one of the most devastating deaths in Hollywood in an episode called American Stepdad. It's from the 8th season, and it starts with Stan finding out that his stepfather had died, and that his mother had spent all of her savings. So, with no place for her to go, Stan invites her to live with them. Meanwhile, Steve and his buddies find a crashed airplane and discover something shocking inside.
I wonder what happened. The script for the Fast and the Furious 7!
The timing of all of it is what makes this so eerie, though. You see, this episode had aired on November 18th, 2012, almost exactly 1 year before the famous actor Paul Walker tragically died in a real-life car accident on November 3rd, 2013. And everyone knows by now that he died while the 7th Fast and Furious movie was still filming. So the episode featuring a dead man with the script in his hand has haunted many fan discussions over the years. But the next show, South Park, it managed to predict one of the most unpredictable things on the planet, the black market, and they did it in a season 14 episode called Medicinal Fried Chicken. This one opens with devastating news for Cartman. New state laws prohibit fast food in low-income areas, causing the closure of all KFC locations in Colorado. And it gets so bad that Cartman actually had to get treatment for it.
This is it? One lousy little cup of gravy?
This is a clinic to help you get over your addiction.
Who That's just gravy! It goes on mashed potatoes, on extra crispy chicken skin!
If you don't want it, that's fine.
Oh God, it's so good.
The KFC places, they get converted into weed shops, with the only real catch being that one needs a medical certificate to buy from them. Randy Marsh, well, he took it really seriously, and so when he found out that he's healthy, he started doing some questionable things to qualify for the weed. Meanwhile, Cartman gets pulled into an underground black market for KFC, with things getting truly violent.
You trying to me, dude? This is cut with Boston Market gravy!
Oh, it's all the same, man.
It's not the same!
Okay, I'm sorry, yo.
You're cutting Colonel's gravy with Boston Market to try and save yourself money!
Things then escalate quickly, with Cartman getting a deal with the Colonel himself. What is happening in this episode? And then he kicks Billy out of the operation, all while eating over 36% of the product himself. And it turned into a full-on gang fight. And it only stopped when Randy's idea to give himself cancer for weed became too much of a problem, and the KFCs could be reopened again. But funnily enough, KFC famously ran out of chicken in February of 2018 across the United Kingdom, forcing the temporary closure of more than 750 out of 900 restaurants. And it was all because the company switched their logistics contract from Bidvest to DHL, moving operations to a single distribution center instead of multiple regional hubs. On top of that, DHL suffered severe computer issues and teething problems, meaning fresh chicken failed to reach store locations. So KFC took out an ad, and I applaud them for this. They took out an ad rearranging its brand letters to read FCK alongside the text. I think you know what that means. With the tagline going, "A chicken restaurant without any chicken, it's not ideal." People had reportedly, though, been smuggling the chicken any way they could, and it had resulted in a small hoarding and black market kind of situation regarding KFC. The episode had predicted this in 2010, 8 years before the KFC shortage situation came true. But y'all, that wasn't the only time South Park predicted something, and this next time was even more spot on than the KFC crisis, and it happens in an episode called Britney's New Look. So this one, my friends, this episode aired even before the previous one, back in 2008, and it starts with a political debate being interrupted because Britney Spears was doing some indecent things. After hearing that the photographer was paid a large sum for the image, Stan, Kyle, and Cartman attempt to photograph a similar event, with a hesitant Butters along with them, but forcing their way in proved to have disastrous consequences.
I've got a better idea.
You do?
Yeah.
No!
Still, though, she miraculously survives, though it leaves her with half of her face completely gone. But that's when the boys realize that the things Britney goes through are genuinely inhumane. From the paparazzi chasing her everywhere to being forced to sing after a major incident, the boys witness it all firsthand.
Elation. Really enunciate the L.
God, she's so stupid.
What do you expect? Look at her. She doesn't have most of her brain.
So they decide to take her to the North Pole, sure. And when she was recognized again, Cartman dressed up as Britney to divert their attention long enough to get her there. When Cartman tries to put some sense into them, that's when the paparazzi reveals something shocking.
Britney Spears has to die.
Huh?
What do you think all this effort has been for?
It cannot be stopped.
It's not just the press. Everyone agrees. She must die.
On top of that, they all willingly admit that she was chosen a long time ago to be adored and then sacrificed. But a public human sacrifice had become too violent, and so they decided to make her do it herself. All of this to make sure that the town got their corn harvest. So they do what they do best and pull out their cameras until it gets too much to bear.
Hold on. She's dead.
After she was gone, the town went back to their harvest until a news channel came on and the show predicted something eerie.
Though only 15 years old, is already on her way to being a major superstar. Looks like next harvest will be even better.
Back in 2008, Britney Spears was known to create controversies, even though the tragic backstory wouldn't come out for a couple of years after this episode. But it was no secret that the episode was simply commenting on what was happening, but predicting that Miley Cyrus, an actress who had a clean image at the time, would go down a similar path to Britney and replace her in the public's eye is pretty spot on. Luckily, Miley Cyrus avoided some of the bigger things that had affected Britney, though their careers had a similar trajectory. Also, side note, I rewatched the Hannah Montana movie earlier this year, and The Climb is still a banger, but let's continue. Up next, we have South Park predicting the fate of someone who is known for the terror he has cast upon the world. That episode is, it's a Jersey thing. So shortly after that KFC prediction, South Park did it again in this episode from season 14. It starts with a family moving from New Jersey to South Park, and so Sharon invites them to dinner, but the good gesture didn't go so well.
You don't ever, you whack job, you'd probably sell your muff for $6! You You're nothing but garbage!
This trouble was only going to multiply as more people from Jersey started to move to South Park, and everyone gets so annoyed with the new residents that Randy called a meeting at the Park County Community Center where he revealed something interesting.
More people from Jersey are showing up in our town. If we don't do something, South Park is going to become West Jersey.
Meanwhile, a scuffle in their hair salon needed Sheila to knock some sense into everyone, and that's when she revealed, to everyone's horror, that she's from New Jersey too and used to be a party girl. When the boys heard it though, they had a very South Park appropriate reaction.
Oh, well. Look what the cat threw up in the litter box. Come on, guys. We don't want to be seen hanging around him. What are you talking about? Dude, we heard the news. Your mom is from Jersey. You're a ginger, a Jew, and from Jersey. 3 strikes, Cal. You're out!
And it leads to Kyle having a meltdown and a full makeover, though he gets determined that no one should ever find out about his new appearance. The town, on the other hand, had started to evict people out of their homes if they're from New Jersey, causing widespread panic. And when the government didn't want to support them, they decided to go to a very different source.
Sometimes when a threat is great enough, you have to turn to your enemies for help. What are you talking about? We could ask Al-Qaeda.
So he does exactly that. While they take their time to make their appearance, the conflict becomes a whole freaking war. But when they do eventually arrive, the war turns in South Park's favor, with Al-Qaeda doing what it does best. But while Osama bin Laden is getting his moment of recognition, cops arrive.
Tango's down.
We got him!
And it's this moment right here that is the prediction, as at the time, in October of 2010, the leader was still alive. But in May of 2011, barely 7 months after, US Navy SEALs raided bin Laden's compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, and shot him, much like it was depicted on South Park. But now, guys, we move on to another classic show, which has a couple of predictions of its own. Family Guy, I think you've heard of it. Starting, though, with the time that they predicted a scandal with Kevin Spacey, and they did it in an episode called Don't Make Me Over. This one is from season 4 of the show, and it begins with Meg getting rejected after asking a guy out. So Lois takes Meg to have a makeover, which for once in her life actually goes well for Meg. But on the other hand, her brother Stewie tries to have a bet with Brian, leading to an accidental prediction.
Help! I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement! Help me! Ha! I am so outrageous! Give me the cash.
This would actually come true, though, as starting from 2017, 12 years after this episode, Kevin Spacey would go on to face multiple misconduct allegations. In the New York civil trial in 2022, actor Anthony Rapp sued Spacey, alleging an unwanted advance in 1986, when Rapp was a teenager, but the court ruled in Spacey's favor. Then in 2023, a UK jury cleared Spacey of 9 charges brought by 4 men spanning his time as an artistic director at the Old Vic. And finally, a London civil out-of-court settlement was reached with 3 men over claims from between the years 2000 and 2013. So even though the courts kept ruling in his favor, the fallout still cost him a lot of money, and Hollywood has kept its distance from him ever since. But there was one other time that Family Guy accurately predicted something with celebrities, and this time it was in this episode. We love you, Conrad. This episode kicks off with the family getting invitations to Brian's ex-girlfriend's wedding, with everyone being invited except for Brian. Oh, damn. On top of that, Peter had been asked to give the bride away, and this devastated Brian, and every attempt to feel better, well, it failed miserably, until he hooks up with a woman and realizes who she is.
Oh my God, you're Lauren Conrad.
Yeah?
From the hills.
Yeah, you seem surprised.
No, it's just, I mean, I probably had a lot to drink last night, so if I did anything that might have offended you, I'm sorry.
Before he can escape, however, Stewie catches Brian with Lauren, and she invites the two to watch her show. That's when Stewie says something that wouldn't come out for another 6 years.
Ugh, look, there's Brody Jenner. God, what a douchebag. I can't believe that came out of Bruce Jenner's
Bruce Jenner is a man.
No, Brian. That's what the press would have you believe, but he's not. Bruce Jenner is a woman. An elegant, beautiful Dutch woman.
In April of 2015, Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner, publicly came out as a transgender woman during a famous television interview with Diane Sawyer. She officially changed her name and debuted her new identity on the cover of Vanity Fair in July of 2015. Stewie, man, he really knows how to see through people. Next, we move to Futurama, which stands true to its name and has made quite a few predictions. So let's start with the time that they predicted a celebrity's appearance in a film adaptation of a famous TV show in this episode, A Fistful of Dollars. So this happens right in the very first season of the show, specifically the 6th episode ever produced. After having their dreams taken over by an advertisement, the Planet Express crew takes a trip to the local shopping mall. But Fry immediately realizes that he's too broke to buy the product that he saw in his dreams. So he goes to the bank in which he had an account 1,000 years earlier, and something shocking happens.
Okay, you had a balance of 93 cents.
All right.
And at an average of 2.25% interest over a period of 1,000 years, that comes to $4.3 billion.
So y'all, this made Fry overwhelmingly rich, and he went on an insane buying spree. Whatever he wanted, he got. Well, except for anchovy pizza. Fry didn't react very well to the fact that his favorite pizza topping hadn't existed in over 800 years, so when he attended an auction that had a can of unopened anchovies, Fry absolutely had to have it. But there was just one thing standing in his way.
50 going once, twice.
75,000.
Oh my God, it's Mom! I've never seen her in person before.
After a bidding war with Mom, Fry got the can for $50 million. But Mom actually turns out to be an evil person who's after those anchovies because their oil would put her robot oil out of business by becoming a permanent solution. So they set out to figure out Fry's pin.
I didn't order any.
Quick, give him the tranquilizer.
That's a good boy.
And to completely convince Fry, Mom's minions dress up the head of Pamela Anderson to act as a customer. But what she says, that's more important because it was actually going to come true in real life.
Hello, Fry. Remember me from Baywatch the movie? It was the first movie to be shot entirely in slow motion.
It hasn't been made yet.
Then he doesn't know I won the Oscar?
Nope.
Crap! Wait, you're Pamela Anderson!
18 years later, Pamela Anderson made a brief, unvoiced cameo appearance in the 2017 Baywatch movie. She doesn't play her usual character of CJ Parker, and there was actually some conflict behind the scenes. Anderson later revealed she initially refused persistent calls from producers asking her to do the cameo for free as a favor, meaning that she faced heavy pressure before finally agreeing to an unvoiced bit part. But y'all, there's another impossible prediction that the show did, and it comes in the episode called The Lesser of Two Evils. So this one aired in the year 2000 as a part of the second season of the show. While visiting the Pastorama theme park, Fry runs over a robot that looks almost exactly like Bender. So naturally, they bring him back to the Planet Express building where Professor Farnsworth repairs him. The robot's name is Flexo, and like Bender, he is a bending unit, and he gets along really well with Bender. But the same cannot be said about his relationship with Fry.
So, Flexo, sorry about crushing your body like that. You okay now?
Well, I don't feel as bad as you look.
A bit of back and forth like that, and Fry starts suspecting that something is up with Flexo, even though he is almost the same as Bender. Meanwhile, the professor reveals an atom of an element called jumbonium, and the gang was tasked with bringing it to the Miss Universe pageant. And there was only one problem for Fry, though.
Planet Express would go bankrupt if it was stolen. Therefore, we'll need to hire on additional security for the mission. Maybe we should stick with people we know and trust. I mean, Flexo's great, but...
Flexo's great, you say? Oh, well, that's good enough for me. Welcome aboard, lad.
And when it came time to guard the Atom while it's in transit, Fry was so paranoid during Flexo's shift that he fell asleep when his own time came. And when the Atom was stolen while he was taking his little baby nap, Fry got so paranoid that not only does he suspect Flexo now, but that he's also disguising himself as Bender. If only it were that easy, though.
Or maybe he never left it off. Wait a minute, you're Bender.
Of course, who said I wasn't?
But why were you wearing that scarf and the turtleneck and this fruity number?
It's a little thing called style. Look it up sometime.
After that mix-up though, guys, the trio, they head to the pageant to inform the host Bob Barker of the theft. But he obviously wasn't happy, demanding that they find the stolen item before it was too late. So they chase Flexo onto the competition stage, and the two bending units fight. But no one was prepared for what they found.
There's the Atom!
Ah, jeez.
Bender? You stole the Atom?
Yeah, but I can explain. It's very valuable.
Flexo turned out to be the good guy after all, and he didn't seem to take the whole thing too personally. Oh, what a cool guy. With the Atom now safely returned, the competition continues to the final stage. But what happened next? Well, it hit a little too close to reality.
And the winner is...
It figures. Who else but Zap Brannigan would be judging the most chauvinistic, degrading, dehumanizing...
Leela?
Only for it to be a misinterpretation, and the true winner is Miss Vega 4. Poor Leela had to give up that crown. And well, during the 2015 Miss Universe pageant, host Steve Harvey mistakenly announced Miss Colombia as the winner when she was actually the first runner-up. The real winner was Miss Philippines, and Futurama predicted it a whole 15 years before the event. But Futurama wouldn't belong on this list if they didn't predict even one future device. Luckily for us, they did, and it came in this episode, The Luck of the Fryish. Now, this one was in Season 3, and it opens in the mid-1970s, where a young Yancey Fry is jealous of his newborn brother Philip. Then, back in the year 3000, or fast forward to the year 3000, fast forward to the year 3000, Philip is getting fed up with his bad luck in a horse rally. Well, a flashback shows him discovering a 7-leaf clover, which grants him extraordinary luck and allows him to beat his brother in any contest, from basketball to breakdancing. But since then, he had the hidden clover and now needs to go and find it in the ruins of old New York.
Well, if we get bored looking for the clover, I've got Tetris on this thing.
Look, up ahead.
Old New York. The city that inspired a casino in Las Vegas.
The clover is hidden inside Fry's copy of the Breakfast Club soundtrack in a Ronco record vault, and that's exactly what he's after now. But y'all, he was in for a shock because the clover is no longer there. Oh my god, WTF, BBQ. So his obvious conclusion was that Yancey must have stolen it, and things only seem to prove him right here.
Who is that godlike figure?
It's my brother, Yancey. And there, in his lapel, my 7-leaf clover! I knew he stole it!
Hold the phone. If that's Yancey, why does the inscription say Philip J. Fry?
Wait a second. That's my name!
On top of that, Fry believed that his brother had stolen his name too, to become Philip J. Fry after he got frozen. And get this, he was the first person on Mars, something the real Fry had been wanting to do all along. It was one of his dreams. So believing that his brother had stolen his clover, his name, and his dream, Fry brings everything into Professor Farnsworth's office, and that's when the prophecy happens.
Friends, my internet browser heard us saying the word Fry, and it found a movie about Philip J. Fry for us. It also opened my calendar to Friday and ordered me some French fries.
Now, y'all, keep in mind, this is 2001, long before Siri or Alexa existed. The professor's internet browser had done this 10 years before the technology actually existed in real life. That type of technology only came into development in 2011, literally drawing inspiration from science fiction computers. But Futurama, guys, wasn't even the first show to call the future of tech, because up next, we have a space-age family that predicted predicted basically your entire house, all the way back in the 1960s. And the show I'm talking about is The Jetsons. What seemed unrealistic in the 1960s really came true in the future, and The Jetsons show is the pinnacle of proof for that. First on the list are video calls. The family is often seen video calling each other for everything from casual chats to work calls, and it's seen right in the first season of the show.
Ah, it's a phone. I'll get it.
Morning, George, dear.
Ah, morning, Gloria.
And guys, that prediction was spot on, including the way that it's integrated into our lives. Me though, I try to avoid video calls like the devil, but sometimes we have to do them. And as an extension of this, the people in the world of the Jetsons are also seen using wristwatches that are capable of running videos and calling. They also had flat screen TVs capable of running whatever the user wanted.
Sleep tight, Elroy.
Good evening, Rocket Ranger. Tonight, your mission is to battle the gas blobs of Beta 3.
Keep in mind that this type of flat screen TV was unheard of in the 1960s, when people usually had really bulky TVs and were just getting used to them. Then there's robot vacuums, and though we don't have Rosie, the family's robotic housekeeper, there are other robots shown that do one task only, and that is exactly what modern vacuum robots do. And then there's digital encyclopedias, which is basically Google at this point.
Micro Encyclopedia, Volume O at your service?
Okay. Show me what you know about a creature named Aubrey.
I have a fascinating article on outer space owls if you'd be interested.
And Wikipedia too. I donated $3 to them yesterday. What did you do? But everyone, the biggest thing of all is how their home behaves exactly like a smart home in today's era. From talking to your alarm to controlling how things move around, the Jetsons, they got it exactly right. But guys, the Jetsons are not the only classic that called the future decades early, as another show predicted the gadgets in your pocket long before they ever became mainstream. And that show is Inspector Gadget. So this is a show that started back in '83, and true to its name, it has some good tech-related predictions. First is Penny's computer book. Penny used a thick book-shaped computer with a full keyboard and screen, and years before consumer laptops became mainstream too. The device featured wireless connectivity and remote internet database access to hack or pull up files on the go. On top of all of that, the computer understood something called contextual keystrokes, which means typing words that changed based on what you are doing or where you are typing. The computer also had video feeds to track down clues anonymously. So basically, each page had its own personality.
Now let's see. All of Presto Chango's known disguises have been logged in. If I photograph him in one of them, the alarm should sound.
She also had a watch that is pretty much a spot-on replica of modern smartwatches with the addition of more buttons. But guys, nothing is more iconic than the Gadget Mobile, Inspector Gadget's self-driving car that needs no human input. And though we don't have robotic arms stretching out to do our driving, self-driving cars have become a reality. Even with cars that have manual driving, this technology is integrated, and Inspector Gadget knew it in the 1980s. And now, my friends, it's finally time for the one I've been teasing and building and alluding to this whole video. I'm talking about a prediction so eerie that the people behind it have never said a word about it, and it comes from the last show you would ever expect. It's Johnny Bravo, and it happens in an episode called Chain Gang Johnny. So, this is the third season of the show, and it begins with the prediction itself. After Carl takes Johnny to the local movie theater, the two are kicked out due to Johnny being a nuisance during the film. And while the two are arguing, a poster with a burning building with the words "Coming Soon" in clear text can be spotted. But what's spooky is the timing of all of it. This episode aired in April of 2001, literally 5 months before tragedy struck New York that September and changed the world forever. None of the animators or producers have ever commented on it though. And honestly, out of every prediction in this video, this is the only one that nobody has ever been able to explain. But guys, what do you think? Comment down below which one of these here in this video do you think is the best prediction in all of cartoon history? And if we missed one, let us know in the comments below. But because you made it to the end, make sure to go down and subscribe while you're still here, and click the video on the screen too. It'll mean a lot to us because, you know, like, we're new here, we're like a baby channel, so feed the baby, please, or we'll starve and die. But thanks for watching, commenting, and have a good one. Bye-bye!